Hello guys, today we are going over Albania. Let's dive in. Albanian Alps. The Albanian Alps, also called the Accursed Mountains, are a dramatic mountain range in northern Albania, extending into Kosovo and Montenegro. They are known for steep limestone peaks, deep valleys, forests, and traditional mountain villages such as Theth and Valbona. The range is one of Albania's most spectacular natural landscapes and is popular for hiking and outdoor tourism. Skanderbeg. Skanderbeg, born Jerij Kastrioti, was an Albanian nobleman and military commander who led a long resistance against the Ottoman Empire. He became the leader of the League of Leza, an alliance of Albanian princes formed in 1444. Skanderbeg successfully defended much of Albania against repeated Ottoman campaigns for more than 2 decades. He became an enduring symbol of Albanian independence and national identity. Gjirokastër. Gjirokastër is a historic city in southern Albania, famous for its Ottoman-era architecture and stone-roofed houses. Its impressive Gjirokastër castle overlooks the city and contains museums and historical exhibits. The city is sometimes called the Stone City because of its distinctive stone buildings and streets. Gjirokastër was the birthplace of writer Ismail Kadare. Berat. Berat is a historic city in central Albania, famous for its white Ottoman-era houses built along the hillsides. It is often called the City of 1,000 Windows because of the many windows on its traditional houses. The city is dominated by Berat Castle, a historic fortress containing churches, mosques, and other buildings. Berat has a long history influenced by Illyrian, Byzantine, Ottoman, and Albanian cultures. Albanian Riviera. The Albanian Riviera is a scenic stretch of coastline in southern Albania, along the Ionian Sea. It is known for turquoise water, beaches, rugged mountains, and seaside towns such as Himare, Dedemi, and Borsh. The region combines Mediterranean landscapes with traditional Albanian villages and historic sites. It has become increasingly popular with tourists while still containing relatively undeveloped coastal areas. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, born Agnese Gonçe Bojaciu, was a Catholic nun and missionary of Albanian heritage, born in Skopje. She founded the Missionaries of Charity in 1950 and became internationally known for her work with poor and sick people in Kolkata, India. She received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979 for her humanitarian work. Mother Teresa became one of the world's most recognizable religious figures, although her organization and some aspects of her work have also been criticized. She was canonized as a saint by the Catholic Church in 2016. Ottoman rule. Ottoman Albania refers to the period when much of the territory of modern Albania was under Ottoman rule, beginning in the late 14th and 15th centuries and lasting until Albanian independence in 1912. The Ottomans gradually conquered Albanian territories after the death of Skanderbeg, whose resistance had delayed Ottoman expansion. During Ottoman rule, many Albanians converted to Islam, while significant Catholic and Orthodox Christian communities remained. Albanian regions produced influential figures in the Ottoman Empire, including military commanders, administrators, and members of the ruling elite. The League of Prizren. The League of Prizren was an Albanian political organization founded in 1878 in the city of Prizren, then part of the Ottoman Empire. It was established to defend Albanian populated territories from being divided among neighboring states after the Russo-Turkish War and the Treaty of San Stefano. The League also promoted greater Albanian autonomy, cultural rights, and national unity. It became an important foundation of the modern Albanian national movement. Independence. Albania declared independence from the Ottoman Empire on November 28, 1912, proclaiming independence in Vlorë and became the head of Albania's first provisional government. The declaration came during the First Balkan War, when Ottoman control over Albanian lands was rapidly collapsing. Albania's independence was internationally recognized in 1913, although the borders established by the Great Powers left many Albanian inhabited territories outside the new state. Ismail Kemali. Ismail Kemali was an Albanian politician and diplomat who became the leading figure in Albania's declaration of independence. On November 28, 1912, he proclaimed independence from the Ottoman Empire in Vlorë and became the head of Albania's first provisional government. He worked to unite Albanian political leaders during a period of major upheaval in the Balkans. Kemali also played an important role in securing international recognition for the new Albanian state. Zog I. Zog I was an Albanian politician who became King of Albania from 1928 to 1939. Before becoming king, he served as president and prime minister while working to strengthen Albania's central government. His reign focused on modernizing the country's institutions, infrastructure, and economy, while Albania became increasingly dependent on Italy. In 1939, Italy invaded Albania, forcing Zog and his family into exile. Enver Hoxha. Enver Hoxha was Albania's communist leader from 1944 until his death in 1985. He established a highly centralized communist regime and made Albania one of the most isolated countries in Europe. His government nationalized industries, collectivized agriculture, and severely restricted political and religious freedoms. Hoxha also pursued an unusual foreign policy, breaking with Yugoslavia, the Soviet Union, and eventually China as ideological disagreements developed. Krujë. Krujë is a historic city in northern central Albania, best known for its connection to Skanderbeg, Albania's national hero. Its castle served as the center of Skanderbeg's resistance against the Ottoman Empire during the 15th century. The city is also famous for its traditional Old Bazaar, where visitors can find Albanian crafts and souvenirs. Krujë Castle contains the Skanderbeg Museum and other historical sites. Lake Ohrid. Lake Ohrid is one of Europe's oldest and deepest lakes, located on the border between Albania and North Macedonia. The Albanian side includes the city of Pogradec, while the larger eastern shore lies in North Macedonia. The lake is famous for its exceptionally clear water and unique wildlife, including many species found nowhere else. Its natural and cultural importance has led to UNESCO World Heritage protection, covering both natural and cultural features around the lake. Communist Albania. Communist Albania refers to the period when Albania was governed by a communist regime from 1944 to 1991. Under Enver Hoxha, the country became highly isolated and pursued a strict form of Marxism-Leninism. The government nationalized property, collectivized agriculture, restricted religion, and heavily controlled political and social life. Albania broke relations with several former allies, including Yugoslavia, the Soviet Union, and China, leaving it increasingly isolated internationally. Illyrians. The Illyrians were a group of ancient peoples who lived across much of the Western Balkans, including parts of modern Albania, Montenegro, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Kosovo, and Serbia. They were not a single unified nation, but consisted of numerous tribes with their own leaders and territories. Some Illyrian kingdoms and tribes fought against the Romans, particularly during the Illyrian Wars and later Roman campaigns. The Romans gradually conquered Illyrian territories, incorporating them into the Roman Empire. Arabon. Arabon is an ancient settlement associated with the Illyrian world and is sometimes connected with the ancient name Arbane, which appears in historical sources relating to the Western Balkans. The term is especially important because Arbor and Arben later became traditional names used by Albanians for themselves and their country. However, the exact location and historical relationship between ancient Arabon/Arbon and later Albanian ethnonyms are debated among historians. It should therefore not be presented as definitively the same place as medieval Albania. Battle of Kosovo. The Battle of Kosovo was fought on June 15, 1389, at Kosovo Polje between an army led by the Serbian ruler Prince Lazar and the Ottoman forces of Sultan Murad I. The battle was extremely bloody, and both Prince Lazar and Sultan Murad were killed, making it unusual among medieval battles. Although the Ottomans eventually strengthened their position in the Balkans, the immediate outcome of the battle is debated by historians because neither side achieved a simple, decisive victory on the battlefield. Venetian Albania. Venetian Albania refers to the territories along the eastern Adriatic coast that were controlled by the Republic of Venice during parts of the medieval and early modern periods. Venetian influence was particularly strong around cities such as Shkodër, Durrës, and Lecce, although control changed frequently because of wars with the Ottoman Empire and local rulers. Venice maintained fortifications and trading networks in the region, making these territories important for Adriatic commerce. Naim Frashëri. Naim Frashëri was one of the most important writers and poets of the Albanian national awakening. He wrote extensively in Albanian, helping promote Albanian language, culture, and national identity during the late Ottoman period. His famous works include Bageti e Bujqësia and Historia e Shqiperisë. Frashëri also wrote in Greek and Persian and was influenced by both Eastern and Western literary traditions. Skanderbeg's Rebellion. Skanderbeg's Rebellion was a long Albanian uprising against Ottoman rule led by Skanderbeg beginning in 1443. Skanderbeg abandoned Ottoman service, returned to Kruje, and took control of the fortress, raising the Albanian flag and beginning his resistance. In 1444, he helped establish the League of Lecce, bringing together several Albanian princes to coordinate their forces. His armies successfully resisted numerous Ottoman campaigns for more than 2 decades, although the conflict included periods of shifting alliances and setbacks. Kingdom of Albania. The Kingdom of Albania was a monarchy that existed from 1928 to 1939, when Ahmet Zogu became King Zog I. Zog's government sought to strengthen the central state and modernize Albania's institutions, economy, and infrastructure. During his reign, Albania became increasingly dependent on fascist Italy, which provided significant financial and political support. Italy invaded Albania on April 7, 1939, forcing Zog and his government into exile and ending the kingdom's independence. Isho-Speed meeting. Isho-Speed met Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama during his visit to Tirana on June 20, 2024. Speed was welcomed at the Prime Minister's office, where the two talked and joked together. Rama gave Speed a signed book featuring his artwork and showed him parts of his office. Speed, a huge Cristiano Ronaldo fan, jokingly asked Rama to paint Ronaldo in his office. Sigurimi. The Sigurimi was the secret police and state security service of Communist Albania, established in 1944. It operated under the communist government of Enver Hoxha and was used to monitor suspected political opponents and perceived threats to the regime. The organization conducted surveillance, interrogations, arrests, and political repression, contributing to the highly controlled nature of communist Albanian society. It also monitored ordinary citizens and maintained extensive records on people suspected of opposing the government. Vlora War. The Vlora War was a conflict between Albanian forces and Italy in 1920 over Italian control of parts of southern Albania. Fighting began in June 1920 after Albanian resistance forces organized against Italian troops occupying Vlora and surrounding areas. Albanian forces managed to push the Italians back and eventually forced Italy to withdraw from most of the disputed territory. The conflict strengthened Albania's independence and national unity during a period of uncertainty following World War I. Communist Revolution. The Albanian Communist Revolution was the rise of the communist movement to power in Albania during and immediately after World War II. The Albanian Communist Party, led by Enver Hoxha, organized resistance against the Italian and German occupations. By November 1944, communist-led forces had taken control of most of the country, as the German forces withdrew. Albania was subsequently transformed into a communist state, with Hoxha becoming its dominant leader. Albanian Revolt. The Albanian Revolt of 1910 was an uprising by Albanian groups against Ottoman rule in Kosovo and surrounding areas. It was driven by opposition to Ottoman centralization, taxation, military conscription, and restrictions affecting Albanian cultural and political rights. Fighting was particularly intense in the Kaçanik region, where Ottoman forces launched military operations to suppress the revolt. Although the uprising was defeated, it demonstrated the growing strength of Albanian nationalism and resistance to Ottoman policies. Zogist Albania. Zogist Albania was Albania under the political leadership of Ahmet Zogu, particularly during his presidency from 1925 to 1928, and his reign as King Zog I from 1928 to 1939. Zog's government sought to centralize the state, strengthen government institutions, and modernize Albania. His regime was authoritarian and relied heavily on alliances with powerful foreign states, especially Italy, which provided financial assistance and increasing political influence. Zog also faced opposition and several attempts to challenge his rule during this period. Italian invasion. The Italian invasion of Albania began on April 7, 1939, when Fascist Italy invaded Albania under the rule of King Zog I. Italian forces quickly captured major ports and cities, while Albanian troops and civilians resisted in several areas. King Zog and his family fled the country, and Italy installed a government that accepted Victor Emmanuel III as King of Albania. Albania was subsequently incorporated into the Italian Empire, although Albanian resistance continued. National Liberation Movement. The National Liberation Movement was the main communist-led resistance movement in Albania during World War II. It was organized in 1942 and led by the Albanian Communist Party, with Enver Hoxha becoming its most prominent leader. The movement fought against Italian and later German occupation forces, while also competing with nationalist resistance groups. By late 1944, the movement had gained control of Albania as German forces withdrew. Its victory led to the establishment of Albania's communist government, which remained in power until 1991. Bali Kombëtar. Bali Kombëtar was an Albanian nationalist and anti-communist political movement founded during World War II. It fought against the Italian and German occupations, while also opposing the communist-led National Liberation Movement. The organization was associated with figures such as Midhat Frashëri and Ali Kelsira, promoted Albanian nationalism, including the idea of an ethnically unified Albania. As the war progressed, Bali Kombëtar became increasingly involved in conflict with the communist partisans, and some of its members collaborated with Axis forces against the communists. Şevket Verlasi. Şevket Verlasi was an Albanian politician and landowner who served as Prime Minister of Albania twice. He was Prime Minister from 1924 to 1925 and again from 1939 to 1941, during the period of Italian occupation. Verlasi became a major political rival of Ahmet Zogu, and their relationship was complicated by a broken engagement between their families. After Italy invaded Albania in 1939, Verlasi became head of the collaborationist government under Italian influence. Vlora Secret Committee. The Vlora Secret Committee was an Albanian nationalist organization formed in the late 19th century to oppose Ottoman rule and promote Albanian national rights. It was associated with the Albanian National Awakening, which sought to protect Albanian language, culture, and political interests. The committee operated secretly because open political opposition to the Ottoman authorities could lead to arrest or persecution. Vlora became an important center for Albanian nationalist activity because of its location and influential local families. Leke Dukagjini. Leke Dukagjini was an Albanian nobleman and contemporary of Skanderbeg, who fought against the Ottoman expansion in the Balkans. He belonged to the powerful Dukagjini family, which controlled territories in northern Albania and Kosovo. He is most famous for his association with the Kanun of Leke Dukagjini, a traditional collection of Albanian customary laws. However, historians debate how much of the Kanun was actually created or codified by Dukagjini himself, as it was largely transmitted through oral tradition and compiled much later. Monastery of Ardenica. The Monastery of Ardenica is an important Eastern Orthodox monastery in southern Albania, near the town of Lushnjë. It was founded in the 13th century, traditionally in 1282, during the reign of Byzantine Emperor Andronikos II Palaiologos. The monastery became an important religious and cultural center in the region. Its Church of the Nativity of the Theotokos contains notable frescoes painted by Albanian artists Kostandin, and Athanas Zografi in the 18th century. Besa. Besa is an Albanian cultural principle meaning a sacred promise, word of honor, or keeping one's word. It emphasizes trust, loyalty, hospitality, and protecting others. Besa has been an important part of Albanian traditional culture for centuries. It is especially associated with the idea that a person's word should be honored even in difficult circumstances. Arboreshe. Arboreshe are descendants of Albanians who migrated to southern Italy, mainly during and after the Ottoman conquest of the Balkans in the 15th and 16th centuries. They established communities in regions such as Calabria, Sicily, Basilicata, and Apulia. The Arboreshe have preserved their Albanian language, traditions, music, and Byzantine religious heritage for centuries. Their language, Arborisht, is an old form of Albanian that developed separately from modern Albanian varieties. The Himara region. The Himara region is a coastal area in southern Albania along the Ionian Sea, known for its beaches, mountains, and historic villages. Himara has a long history connected with ancient Greek, Roman, Byzantine, and Albanian cultures. The region has traditionally been home to Albanian-speaking communities, including people with distinctive local cultural traditions. Important places include Himara, Keparo, Vuno, Dermi, and Borsh. Merdita. Merdita is a historical region in northern Albania, centered around the Merdita Highlands. It was traditionally inhabited by the Merdita tribe, a Catholic Albanian community known for its strong tribal organization. The region was governed through traditional customary laws, particularly the Kanun of Leke Dukagini. During the Ottoman period, Merdita maintained a degree of local autonomy and resisted outside control. 1911 Revolt. The Albanian Revolt of 1911 was an uprising against Ottoman rule, mainly centered in the northern Albanian highlands. It was led by Albanian tribal leaders, including figures such as Dede Gjo Luli, and sought greater autonomy and recognition of Albanian rights. The rebels captured several Ottoman positions and raised the Albanian flag at Dechik near Tuzi in April 1911. The Ottoman government responded with military force and eventually negotiated with the rebels. The Congress of Lushne. The Congress of Lushne was a major Albanian political meeting held in Lushne from January 28 to 31, 1920. It was organized to defend Albania's independence and territorial integrity after World War I. The delegates rejected foreign plans to divide Albanian territory and established new national institutions. The Congress also moved the political center of Albania from Durrës to Tirana. Mehmet Shehu. Mehmet Shehu was an Albanian communist politician who served as Prime Minister of Albania from 1954 to 1981. He was born in 1913 in Çorush, near Malakaster. During World War II, he became a prominent commander in the Albanian communist resistance. Under Enver Hoxha, Shehu became one of the most powerful figures in communist Albania and played a major role in the government and security apparatus. He died in 1981 after being accused by the communist leadership of being an enemy of the state. Sazan Island. Sazan Island is Albania's largest island, located near the entrance of Vlorë Bay, where the Adriatic and Ionian Seas meet. The island has a strategic military position and has been controlled by various powers, including Italy and Albania. During the communist period, Sazan was heavily militarized and covered with bunkers, tunnels, and military installations. It remained largely off-limits to civilians for decades because of its military importance. Karaburun Peninsula. The Karaburun Peninsula is a mountainous peninsula on Albania's southwestern coast, extending into the Ionian Sea near Vlorë. It is known for rugged cliffs, secluded beaches, caves, and clear Mediterranean waters. Much of the peninsula is protected as part of the Karaburun Sazan Marine Park, Albania's first marine protected area. The area also contains historical sites and remains of military installations from Albania's communist period. Spach Prison. Spach prison was a notorious political prison and forced labor camp in communist Albania, located in a remote mountainous area. Prisoners were forced to work in dangerous copper and pyrite mines under harsh conditions. Many people in prison there were considered political opponents or enemies of Enver Hoxha's regime. In 1973, prisoners at Spach staged a famous revolt, raising the Albanian flag without its communist symbols before authorities suppressed the uprising. Bloku. Bloku is a neighborhood in Tirana, Albania, that was once reserved for senior communist officials and their families. During the communist era, ordinary citizens were generally prohibited from entering the area without permission, making it a symbol of the regime's privileged political elite. Enver Hoxha lived in a villa there during his rule from 1944 to 1985. After communism ended, Bloku was open to the public and transformed into one of Tirana's busiest areas for restaurants, cafes, shops, and nightlife. Submarine base. The Cold War submarine base at Pashaliman was a strategically important naval facility on Albania's Vlorë Bay. It became particularly significant during the Cold War, when Albania hosted Soviet submarines as part of its alliance with the Soviet Union. After Albania's relationship with the Soviet Union broke down in the 1960s, the base remained under Albanian control and continued to serve the country's navy. The facility included underground and coastal infrastructure designed to support submarines and protect them from attack. Butrint. Butrint is an ancient archaeological site in southern Albania, near the Greek border and the Ionian Sea. It was originally a Greek settlement and later became an important Roman city, with remains including a theater, basilica, and city walls. The site was also influenced by Byzantine and Venetian cultures, leaving layers of history from different periods. Butrint was eventually abandoned and became surrounded by wetlands and forests, helping preserve its ruins. Gjadër Air Base. Gjadër Air Base is a former military airbase in northern Albania that was built during the communist era. It became part of Albania's extensive Cold War defense network and was designed to support the country's air force. The base is particularly notable for its underground aircraft shelters and tunnels, which were intended to protect aircraft from attack. Albania's policy of extreme military preparedness led to the construction of numerous fortified facilities like Gjadër. Rozafa Castle. Rozafa Castle is a historic fortress overlooking Shkodër in northern Albania. The site has ancient origins and was later developed and fortified by various civilizations, including the Illyrians, Romans, Venetians, and Ottomans. It is especially famous for the legend of Rozafa, which tells of a woman who was supposedly walled into the castle as a sacrifice so its walls would remain standing. The fortress offers views over Lake Shkodër, the Buna River, and the surrounding mountains. Illyrian religion. Illyrian religion refers to the diverse religious beliefs and practices of the ancient Illyrian peoples of the Western Balkans. Illyrians worshipped various local deities and nature-related forces, with religious traditions differing between tribes and regions. Archaeological evidence includes inscriptions, statues, burial practices, and offerings, although many aspects of their beliefs remain uncertain because few written sources survive. Some Illyrian deities were later influenced or identified with Greek and Roman gods, as the region came under their cultural and political influence. Tirana tunnels. The Tirana tunnels are underground structures associated with Albania's communist-era military and civil defense infrastructure. They were built as part of the regime's extensive preparations for a possible foreign invasion or nuclear attack. Some tunnels served as shelters, command facilities, storage areas, or emergency installations, particularly around Tirana. The network reflects Enver Hoxha's policy of extreme military preparedness and Albania's isolation during the Cold War. Lake Prespa. Lake Prespa is a pair of freshwater lakes, Great Prespa and Little Prespa, located in the Balkans. Great Prespa is shared by Albania, North Macedonia, and Greece, making it one of Europe's notable transboundary lakes. The Albanian side is known for its mountainous scenery, traditional villages, wetlands, and diverse wildlife. The region is particularly important for birds and other wildlife, including Dalmatian pelicans. And that was the end of Albania. Thank you for watching, and bye.